Hari Om. Thank you, Swatiji. So I'm happy to be here with all of you. And Bhagavad Gita is a subject that's been discussed for last 5,000 years, and great masters have spoken about the meaning of it. And everyone has found something different, which is a very interesting perspective, because generally when we say something is written, we understand the meaning and it doesn't change. But in Bhagavad Gita, every scholar over a period of time, they have expressed their own opinion, and these opinions have a lot of differences. So if you see, Shankaracharya wrote his commentary on Bhagavad Gita in 8th century. Of course, before Shankaracharya's commentary, very few commentaries are known, but Shankaracharya's commentary is considered one of the landmark commentary. After that, another wonderful commentary is done by Jnaneshwar, Santa Jnaneshwar, and it's called Jnaneshwari. It's again one of the defining moments in the understanding of Bhagavad Gita. After that, in 19th century, there's commentary written by Lokmanya Tilak, a philosopher, a leader of the Indian freedom movement against the British, and his commentary is also a wonderful commentary. Of course, there's other people also who have written their commentaries, like Gandhi, and even many Western scholars have tried to present their commentary. I'm going to tell you some basic meaning. Well, I don't really have a lot of in-depth analysis like these great philosophers have done, but I'll try and present some basic versions that I have understood with my teacher. His name was Dr. Vinayak Kulkarni. He's no more. He's left his body 3 years ago, but he's given a lot of good insights to me. So I'm just going to share some of them with you. The subject is of translation. Anyway, you have a good understanding of background with Guruji explaining the story, because the story is very important if you want to understand Bhagavad Gita. If you don't know the background, then you will not understand anything. So you have to have a good understanding of the background. And if you start with that background, the first verse in Bhagavad Gita says, Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamakaha pandavaschaiva kim kuruvat sanjaya. Interestingly, Bhagavad Gita, which is one of the highest texts in yoga, the first verse is by Dhritarashtra, who is on the negative side. It's not started by Arjuna asking first question. It's Dhritarashtra. And who he is asking? He is asking Sanjay, who is his driver, chariot driver. Sanjay is a chariot driver of Dhritarashtra. As Dhritarashtra is a blind king. He can't see things. So Vyas, I'm not going to tell all of these things because you already know this. Vyas, Maharshi Vyas, he gave Sanjay this psychic vision, telepathy, so that Sanjay could see what is happening on the war front, and then he can inform that to Dhritarashtra. So Sanjay is sitting there with Dhritarashtra, and through his psychic vision, he can see what is happening, maybe like a live telecast that Sanjay could see from the war front, and he's informing that to Dhritarashtra. So that's why Dhritarashtra starts asking him. He says that, "Oh Sanjay, tell me what my children, that is his sons, 100 sons that he has. And then Pandu's sons, what they are doing on the Kurukshetra, that is battlefield. But he uses one more word before that, and that's very important here. He says Dharmakshetri. Battlefield is okay, but he says it's Dharmakshetra. What is this word Dharmakshetra? The most important word in this first verse, first shloka, is Dharmakshetra. So Dhritarashtra calls it Dharmakshetra. He does not calls it a place of violence. He does not calls it a horrible, terrible place. It is going to be a terrible place. It's a tragedy there. Millions of people are going to be killed. Everyone knows that. But Dhritarashtra does not call it in a negative sense. He calls it Dharmakshetra. So this word Dharma is the core word in this. Dharma is the right path of life. The right thing that we need to follow in our life. We decide what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong. What is my role there? And what is my contribution in that path that I believe in? And that is the idea of dharma. And I will discuss this idea as we go on with second and third chapter, especially the third chapter. The dharma concept is explained by Sri Krishna much more. So here in the first verse, Dhritarashtra is focusing on a place where the armies are ready to fight, and he's asking Sanjay, what is my sons and Pandu's sons, Pandavas, what is Kauravas and Pandavas are doing? And that place is Dharmakshetra. It's a decision of what is right and wrong. It's a place where decision will be made. So whosoever wins, their path will be the right path. That is his understanding. Have you understood the meaning of first one? It's a simple one, but important word here is Dharmakshetra. An important thing is Dhritarashtra starting Bhagvadgeeta. It's not Sri Krishna starting Bhagvadgeeta. It is Dhritarashtra is starting it. Next verse. Sanjay is answering to his king, and he can see the armies of Pandavas, and he can see Duryodhan. Duryodhan is the eldest son of Dhritarashtra. So Sanjay is saying that yes, he can see the army of Pandavas, and then he can see the Duryodhan. Now see, Sanjay knows that Dhritarashtra is madly in love with his son. In fact, this one aspect of blind love to his son Dhritarashtra, that is the reason for all of this injustice done to Pandavas. So Sanjay is quite smart, so he understands that although Dhritarashtra is asking this question, he is more interested in Duryodhan. So naturally he is trying to focus on Duryodhan, and he says that Duryodhan is coming to the Guru Dronacharya. Again, Dronacharya, although he is a Guru of Pandavas, although he is Guru of Arjuna and Dhritarashtra and all of them, he is still fighting from the Kaurava side. So he's saying, Sanjay is saying that Duryodhan has come to Dronacharya and he's asking the meaning of third shloka. He says that Duryodhan is asking Dronacharya, look at this army, organized army of Pandavas, led by your disciples. Your disciple and son of the king Drupad, Drishtadyumna, is more like he's watching observing everyone, and he's watching the kings who are fighting from the side of Pandavas. So basically, this slok and the next one, next few verses till verse number uh, 6, number 2 to 6. I'm not getting into details of it, but look at the psychology of Duryodhan. You can easily see that he's saying to his guru Dronacharya that who all are fighting from the Pandavas side. So basically, he's analyzing who are these people who are leading the Pandavas army, and then he is comparing them with his own army. It is just for his own boosting of ego. He's just trying to prove to his own guru that how great his army strength is. And at the same time, he wants to undermine the strength of Pandava's army. So basically, again, you can see his character, which he has displayed all through the story of Mahabharata: egoistic, arrogant, and has no respect for anyone. And that's what he's trying to do again here, which is very interesting that Sanjay is saying the same thing to Duryodhan's father, Dhritarashtra. So it's kind of indirect hint to Dhritarashtra that look at your arrogant son, he's still the same. Even when now it's the time of war, his attitude is same. So I think till verse number 10, this is the broad meaning of that. I'm not going to get into these names of different warriors that Duryodhan is talking about, and who is fighting from his side and who else is fighting from their side and all of that. So, but this is the broad meaning up till verse number 10. Uh, verse number 11, shlok 11, he is talking about verse number 11. Duryodhan is saying that now he's telling Dronacharya that we need to protect Bhishma. Now, who is Bhishma? You all know Bhishma. Bhishmacharya is the old great grandfather who is the main person of the Kauravas army. He loves Pandavas, but he is fighting from Kaurava's side because he has to protect the kingdom from any attack. That's what his promise is. So Bhishmacharya, now Duryodhan is saying to Dronacharya, who is the captain of his army also. So now Duryodhan is actually giving a command to his own guru. And he says, make sure that Dronacharya is protected from all sides. So you can see that there is bit more arrogance in him as a prince, and you can uh, feel it in this verse. So after that, the verse number 12, the Bhishma is blowing the conch. The old traditions, the starting of the war was always with the blowing of the conch. So it was not like randomly starting a war or some kind of covert operations or some kind of just sudden attacks. It was not like that. It was This war front was a dharma kshetra, so where the rules had to be followed, and it was a properly organized war, you can say. That yes, now we are going to fight the war. Are you ready? Are we ready? When both sides ready, both sides agree, both sides decide, then the war will start. So there are certain rules, and that's one of the rules, that if you want to start the war, you blow the conch, and then you wait for the others to blow their conch. It's not just I blow the war, conch and I start the war. So there were rules, and the verse 12 is highlighting that. And it says that the Pitamaha Bhishma, the Bhishmacharya, he's called Pitamaha, like the great father. Uh, he starts he blows his conch, and that is verse number 12. And he is the most experienced warrior, the best of the Kauravas, and great grandfather, and all of this description is there in the meaning of verse 12. And he says, and Sanjay is saying that how big is that sound of his conch, and that sound of conch, interestingly, in verse 12, it says that this sound of the conch has excited Duryodhan to the highest. Now see how one little addition into this verse 12 also tells us the personality of Duryodhan. So he's just waiting for this war. He's so desperate for this war. And that's why he's also first 5 6 verses that I told you briefly. He's telling how great warriors are fighting from our side. So we are going to win this war for sure. And that you can see again here. That same arrogance is there again in the verse number 12. He's saying that, like, he's so excited now that he's going to just go attack with his warriors, attack the Pandavas and defeat them. Then verse number 13, if you go to, it's just a description of other instruments that are played on the battlefield to create the environment, like big drums and different types of metal instruments. The sound is generally used for strong motivation, like when we play music, people start dancing. It's a motivation for dance. But here the instruments that are used, they create really big sounds, and that motivates people to fight the war. So it's just not taking your weapon and fighting, but it is all these preparations. So conch is the starting point, and then the other musical instruments, they follow. So that is verse number 13. And you can easily see that the aggression is from the Kaurava side. And as it was, as the war was pushed onto Pandavas, Pandavas didn't really want to fight the war. Shri Krishna went to Pandavas. From Pandavas side, he went to the Kauravas and asked for 5 little villages instead of the whole kingdom. He asked for a very small piece of land where Pandavas can live in peace and Kauravas can have the kingdom and all of the money. So that was also given, but Kauravas rejected that. Duryodhana especially rejected that because he was really wanting to fight the war. So you can see the war again here on the war front. It started by Kauravas. Pandavas did not start. Although they have all the truth with them, they have not started the war. The war is started by Kauravas, and you can see it here in this shlok also. And now in verse number 14, Sanjay says that first mention of Krishna here. This is important because Krishna is the hero of the whole story. And Bhagavad Gita is all about Sri Krishna. So now Sanjay says that after all of these things have happened, now Arjun and Krishna, who are sitting in their chariot, they have started blowing their conches. Now the verse number 15 is description of the names of the conches of Sri Krishna and the Pandavas. Sri Krishna's conch name is Panchajanya. Many times in India, in Bharat, we see Panchajanya name, and that's the name of Sri Krishna's conch. So when that conch is blown, it's the sound of the righteous path, the right path, the correct direction of our life. So Panchajanya is important name for us to remember. The rest you can forget. And then till verse number 16, the names of the conches are given. Then verse number up till 16, actually 17 also and 18 also, uh, till 19, he's talking about conches. And then in verse number 19, Sanjay is saying something interesting. So the first blowing of the conch is by Kauravas. See, these are, you probably not find a lot of importance in these verses, but there are very subtle shades of things shown in these first verses, and it is very clear in verse number 19. What the verse number 19 says is, of course, first the Kauravas blown their conches, and then Panchajanya, Sri Krishna started blowing his conch, and this is reflected in verse number 19, saying that when this sound of the sound of this conch reverberated in the sky and on the earth, it has generated fear in the heart of Kauravas. Now, what it's actually saying is that when Kauravas have started fighting, Duryodhana has a lot of arrogance. He's telling himself that yes, he's going to win because he has all these warriors and Pandavas don't have all these warriors. But this verse is very important because it says that Duryodhana also knows that he's on the wrong side. And that is why he has a fear. When Sri Krishna has blown his conch, Duryodhana has understood that yes, this is creating fear in me. And to suppress that fear, probably he's telling that how great warriors are fighting from our side. Because once you are confident, you don't need to tell people. You don't need to show that. So it's very interesting that at the back of his mind, deep down in his heart somewhere, he understands that he's on the wrong side. And that reflects in this verse number 19. And the fear is of Sri Krishna. This is more interesting. And now Sri Krishna is not fighting the war. He's decided he's not going to fight the war. He's sitting in the chariot as a chariot driver. So Duryodhana should not be scared because Sri Krishna is not fighting the war. But he's still scared. That explains the first word Dharmakshetra. And in Mahabharata, it is said somewhere, I don't remember the name of the number of the verse, but Duryodhan says, Janami dharmam, nachame pravrutti. Janami adharmam, nachame nivrutti. I know the right path, but I don't like that path. I know I know what I'm following is wrong. This is wrong path, but I can't really get rid of my habits. This is the story of our life. We know what is right and what is wrong. When we are eating wrong food, we know this is wrong food. But somehow we can't stop it. We know what is right, but we really don't want to do that. This is exactly how it reflects. Like everyone knows what is right, dharma. And everyone knows what is adharma, what is wrong. Now there is a war going on in Israel and Palestine. Everyone knows what is right. We all understand what is happening. But many people are not taking the side of the right. But anyway, we'll leave that. We move ahead now. So till verse number 19, I have told you all these things. So it's basically a background of Bhagavad Gita. Still, Sri Krishna has not come into picture. It's only his conch that's being blown right now. That guilty feeling that Duryodhan has created this fear. I just want to highlight one more point. Where do you have the fear? The fear here in the heart of Duryodhan starts because he has a guilty feeling. If there is no guilty feeling, there cannot be anxiety. There cannot be fear. So the guilt brings anxiety and fear. And that also reflects here. When I know I'm wrong, when I know I have wrong aspirations, when I know I'm doing wrong things, it creates a guilt. That guilt creates anxiety. So this is reflecting in the verse number 19. Bad karmas is actually the reason for this. And that's why the whole Bhagavad Gita is talking about changing your karma. Sri Krishna is pushing this idea to Arjuna, the whole Bhagavad Gita. And that reflects here that because Duryodhana's karma were bad, he has this fear when Sri Krishna has blown the conch. See, these are subtle shades which we can notice when reading the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. So now you can easily see even Sanjay, who is the chariot driver of Dhritarashtra, is on the side of Dharma. And that's why he is saying all these things. Sanjay is not on the side of his own king. And in fact, now you understand that because Sanjay is on the right side, Vyas gave him psychic vision, telepathy. Duryodhan did not get it. And in fact, I'll tell you something more interesting. When Vyas came to Dhritarashtra, the blind king, he asked Dhritarashtra, I can give you also the psychic vision, telepathy, which you yourself can see. But you know what Dhritarashtra says? He says, I know what's going to happen. So I don't want to see my sons getting killed. Although he knows his army is the strongest, although he knows that Bhishma is fighting from his side, the guru of Pandavas, Dronacharya, the great Dronacharya is fighting from his side. Although he knows Sri Krishna, the greatest warrior, is not fighting from Pandava's side. He knows everything, but still he understands that if you are on the path of adharma, the wrong path, you are going to get destroyed. And that's why he rejects this psychic vision. And then who gets it? The one who is on the right side, that is Sanjay. So you see this, before the starting of the war, they know the result of the war. Even Duryodhan knows, and that is reflected in verse number 19, that he is scared. Verse number 20. Arjuna is picking up his bow and arrow. That is verse number 20. So this is, look how these verses come close to each other. 19, there is fear in the mind of Duryodhan because he is on the wrong path. And that fear shloka is followed by the verse 20, where the right side, the dharma side, Arjuna is raising his bow and arrow, his weapons. So the fear is followed by the rise of the energy of the good path. That is Arjuna raising his weapon. And in the same verse, Sanjay is saying, very interesting thing, that there is a flag on Arjuna's chariot. Arjuna's chariot, and that flag carries the picture of Hanuman. See, this is very interesting. When Arjuna, who has Sri Krishna as his own chariot driver, his flag shows picture of Hanuman. Picture doesn't show Ram. His picture doesn't show goddess. Picture doesn't show anyone else but Hanuman. Oh, why is this Hanuman so important? Look, Hanuman is an icon, the iconic figure in Ramayana. They say, what is the power of Hanuman? Ram had to walk on the bridge to reach Lanka. Hanuman didn't need all of that. He could just fly. The whole army of Rama, the army of monkeys that Rama had to carry with him to fight Ravana. And what did Hanuman do? He just burned down the Lanka within few minutes. Look at the power of Hanuman. And that is why the picture of Hanuman is there on the flag of Arjuna, because he is his idol. Arjuna's idol is Hanuman. Although his guru is Sri Krishna. Another symbolic gesture there is Hanuman was devoted to Ram. And it's the chariot of Arjuna. It's not Krishna's chariot, it's Arjuna's chariot. So Arjuna is sending a message that he is a devotee, he is a disciple of Ram, that is now Krishna. So he is saying that yes, I am a devotee of Sri Krishna. He has identity not as the king. This is very interesting because his flag should carry this logo of his kingdom. That's what we do, the logo of the kingdom, because it represents the strength of the kingdom. But he's not carrying that flag. He's carrying the flag of Hanuman. And that is symbolic of he saying that I am a disciple of Sri Krishna. So he's fighting the war as a disciple. On one side, you can see the arrogance of Duryodhan, and on the other side, you can see the humble nature of Arjuna. What he is trying to portray. what he's trying to show to people who he is. He's not telling them he is the king, he's not telling them he is someone so powerful and all of that. Although just before this war, you all been told by Guruji in this story that just before this war, Arjuna had to fight another war. It was not his own war. He fought that war for another king called King Virat. Because Arjuna and his brothers, they were hiding in the kingdom of this King Virat for their 1 year secret hideout condition. You all remember it, right? Guruji told this story to you. So in that war that he had to fight for that King Virat, he fought against everyone. Dhritarashtra was, Bhishmacharya was there, Dronacharya was there, Duryodhan was there, Karna was there. All the same warriors that are fighting against him now, they were there in that war of Virat, King Virat. And Arjuna single-handedly fought with them and he defeated them. Now this war was very recent, few months back. Now once something has happened just few months back, you are very strong on your confidence. You're full of confidence. So Arjuna's flag could have just showed that confidence. Yes, I can do that. Because you try to boost yourself always, when you want to do something like very strong and unique in your life, you're trying to motivate yourself. So the flag could have been a motivational sign, or it could have been a reminder of his own strengths or his own path or his own commitment, but it's none of it is there on the flag. And the most interesting thing is the logo of the kingdom is also not there. And that tells us the personality of Arjuna. What we are trying to understand is who he is and how he is. Why is that necessary? Why you need to understand Arjuna? Because in chapter 11, Sri Krishna says that Arjuna, you are the only person, you are the only luckiest person who is able to see the cosmic form of the divine. And now that is very important. So we need to understand his personality. And the first thing we realize in his personality is humility, dedication, devotion. So the I, the ego, is hardly there. And that is most important. Ego is not there. So I think this is still verse number 20.